Welcome and welcome back. Up and I'll be all over. This will be mostly your spot. So those of you who do not know me, my name is Jade. I am the instructor through this week for yoga with Fit Bodies. I like to alternate the classes that I provide throughout the week. So yesterday was a little bit more intense. Today we're going to do very, very low key. I made some promises to people at the swimming pool about a stretching yoga class where they don't have to get off their back. They were very interested at the time, but I don't see them here this morning. That goes that way sometimes. But for all of you, the idea is to stretch out some of the areas that you might be feeling in your travels. Many of you, I'm sure, are athletic when you're at home, maybe also on your vacation. And so I also love it when I'm able to give you a few things that you're able to take home with you to make things feel better, to learn them in your own practice. So we'll start out today. Just make sure that you've got your Corefirst cord handy. You can lay it off to the side. Don't worry about the sun out there because mostly you're going to be looking straight up at the ceiling. So if you do feel dizzy at any point, just feel free to take a moment, close your eyes, pull your knees in, roll over. It's okay. It's all your practice. Enjoy. But let's start out with our heads back towards the restaurant, feet out towards the sea, head towards the restaurant, feet towards the sea. And just lie down and pull your knees into your body. Let's do a little check-in with how we're feeling this morning. And I will give you areas for class today. I also love to stay open to things that other people might have going on in their bodies. So my areas are somewhere between your feet and your low back. Would anybody like to make any special requests as we get started today? Is there anything that you might have going on? You can say it loud, or you can just kind of flag me over and say, hey, can we work on this a little bit? And if not, that's okay, but give you a moment to check in with that and to notice yourself. So whether you give an area to me today, you probably have something for yourself. Maybe something that needs a little bit of attention. And so I invite you to notice what's happening today from your feet, especially to your sacrum. But I also offer you just a little bit in your shoulders as well, or your neck, your skull. Are there any other areas that you would like to invite in to have a conversation today as we move through this restorative yoga class? Notice that. And then I invite everybody to bring your feet down to the ground, your knees towards the sky. It's as though you are prepping for a bridge pose, if you're familiar with that. And then we're going to reach our hands down into the creases between our hips and our thighs. Slide shoulders back. And just notice our breath. So that on our next breath in, you're going to lift up through the belly and feel how your rib cage rises with your inhalation, pressing the shoulders back. You're supporting your strong spine and your strong posture right here on the ground today. And as you exhale out through the nose, let yourself press out through the low ribs, through the upper belly, through the middle belly, and finally through the lower abdominals. So you're really supporting that strength with your breath. And once again, drawing breath in, go ahead and dig those hands a little deeper into your thighs, push the shoulders back, and invite that inhalation all the way up through the middle abdominals, upper abdominals, low ribs, front of the heart, press the shoulders back, feel how your rib cage rises, and you feel a little lift in your spine. So we're supporting that aligned, strong spine. And exhaling, go ahead and press that breath out all the way back down to the lower ribs, upper abdominals, middle abdominals, lower abdominals, feeling your belly strength with your exhalation. One more time, breath comes in, letting low rib cage rise, middle rib cage rise, shoulders press them down. So you're really supporting this strong, open front of the body posture. Breath rises all the way up to the collarbones, and then I want you to think about even letting the breath lift your back ribs slightly as you continue to stay strong through your belly. And then exhaling, continuing to let those shoulders press down strongly behind you. Let the breath press all the way out through the upper abdominals, lower abdominals, and finally very deep to your abdominals. And then release the hands at the side. Bring the soles of your feet together. And just rest for a moment in Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. So recline cobblers pose. Knees can move out towards opposite sides. And notice even this early in the class, what does that do for you? Breathing here in this beautiful air, here in the ocean, noticing your spine and noticing how well your breath supports your body. As you're ready, take your hands to the outside of your thighs and just help those knees back into position. Reach down, take hold of your right shin or thigh and pull that right into your body. So we're just going to alternate stretching through the back. So we grab hold of the back of the thigh, front of the shin, interlace the fingers and just pull everything in nice and tight. A little attention for the digestive system. Also really noticing that on your inhalation, you're supporting a nice long stretch, a natural stretch on the right side of your low back. As you're there, pulling with the strength of your arms, can you let your shoulders relax? Can you let your hips relax? Also noticing, just like you did at the very beginning of class as we worked with the breath, how your exhalation allows you to pull in a little more deeply. And there's this really cool thing that happens for us. Weightlifters use it, dancers use it, that during our exhalations we have extra support for our deep core. We have extra strength. Not coincidentally, we are also our strongest at that time as we become more flexible. So our bodies understand this, that we become more flexible when we are so well supported, when we are strong, when we are holding our own balance. Release and gently bring your right foot to the floor. Hold the left leg in, so just alternating our stretch. Interlace the fingers, and here's the funny little thing. Try putting the other index finger on top. Right, we come on vacation, we get the opportunity to break our habits, don't we? Do things that are outside of our routine. Do that right down to the simple actions of how you reach for a thing. Let your brain notice that you're capable of making choices. Habits are powerful. Habits help us to be efficient and get things done. And habits are a wonderful thing to be aware of and to nudge every once in a while. As you're here with your left thigh pulling into the left side of your abdominal area, you're also giving a little massage into the direction of your digestive system. That's a good thing here on the resort, right? We take in all kinds of different foods, we keep all kinds of different schedules. Let yourself really bring in that richness and that beauty. So that sometimes we need to clear things out, which is what we do on vacation, so that we can bring good stuff in. So as we press out through that area of the body, clearing things out, when we release that, playing with the compression, playing with the release, blood flow enters those areas, we bring in new nourishment, we bring in new health. If it feels good for you, you're welcome to extend your right leg long and just get an extra little opening, an extra little connection to the front of your right hip. It's very gentle class today. I invite you right now to come back to the breath that you've already had a little conversation and interaction with. If you find at this time that it's a bit much to hold with your hands, I also invite you to take hold of the cord, the Corefirst cord that I put at the side of your mat, and you can switch to that at any point. So it's one of the wonderful things that we do in yoga is we learn how to take care of ourselves. And we learn, honestly, how to interact with the world in ways that take that strain off of us. Sometimes we need to make our arms a little longer, the ground a little higher, and we can use ways to make that happen. And now finally, I'd like you to pull both of your knees in towards your body. Again, I invite you, if you'd like, to grab that cord next to your mat. Otherwise, just hold deeply with the strength of your arms. You're in charge. I always say that I'm a tour guide on these vacations. I'll show you things, I'll take you places. You don't have to go, right? You are welcome at any point to stop and look at a place that you are. You are welcome at any point to go back to a place that you've been. As you did at the beginning of class, notice that your breath out is supporting you and moving a little bit deeper into the position. You might pull those knees in a little closer. This might be very new for you. You might be very tender in your belly. If so, move gently, move easily. This is an amazing time to take an inventory and notice that the way that we are changes. We never come to the mat as exactly the same person that we were when we left. So let's start to bring a little bit more attention into some of the lower areas of our body. Take hold of your cord. Bring both feet down. Take hold of your cord. And we'll bring the cord around the ball of our right foot. So ball of the right foot, the part that you would step on just beneath your toes. Press strongly out through the heel. And let's give a little attention to our feet and our ankles. So as we press out through the ball of our foot, getting a really active straight leg, I'd like you to think about pressing both sides of your foot towards the sky above you. Give me your strap, sweetheart. Right over the ball of your foot. There you go. Now push. Strap in both hands. Push away from your body. There you go. So you're going to find, this is my son, so if he makes goofy noises, somebody's not supposed to. So it's not just a random guest walking. So pressing out through the ball of your foot, think about spreading your toes out, giving yourself lots and lots of space in through the joints in your feet. And as you press straight up through that ankle, you're going to feel a stretch that moves onto both sides of your calf. Let yourself come right back down into your core. Push your hip down, straighten your leg, and breathe. Let yourself come right back into your core, pressing your hips down and around. Noticing that your deep inhalations and exhalations are going to help you to open up through your feet, through your calves, through your ankles. You may have heard me say earlier this week, 1/4 of the joints in your body, in your feet and your ankles. So all of these tiny architectural wonders that hold us as we move through on our feet, on our hips, on our spine. So what does it do when those areas get closed off? When the circulation gets stuck in those areas? Trust the strap. There you go. Yes. Push out through your relax your toes. Good. And let yourself start to come up a little bit. Oh, good. Now breathe. So much, right? So right now we are working down through the deep center of our calf. Let's think about what happens in our calf. Big push muscles from our body, right? When we got to power, when we got to push the beach away to jump for a volleyball, or in karate self-defense, or running or biking. These are the muscles that are going to push to make that happen. If you're breathing and noticing, you might also become aware that there seems to be a connection between what's happening in the front of your left hip and the action of lengthening out through your right calf. And I invite you to notice especially your inhalation is going to help you in just relaxing the left hip down and opening that space. We're working with the natural space of the spine. Now you might have heard me talk earlier this week about things being three-dimensional in our bodies, right? We tend to think about stretching in terms of names. Let's think about stretching in terms of sensation. Reset yourself, continuing to push out through your heel. And now here's the trick. You're going to point your toes up towards the north side of the beach, so that's going to be towards your left. Push your heel out towards the right, out towards the south, towards Tulum. Keep the hip down. Your stretch, your sensation is moving into the outside of your calf. If you're not finding where I'm talking about, please don't hesitate to wave me down. I'll come over and assist. You look like you're doing it. And then the real trick is how you keep breathing while you do that. So we've all had times in our bodies that because of what's going in our lives, we needed to get stuff done, right? Sometimes we gotta run, sometimes we gotta push up that hill. Our breath changes with that, our body stores that. When we come back onto the mat and we slow our breath down and act deliberately to align ourselves, we change the way that our bodies respond to the hard things that have happened or that we have done in our past. Every time you come onto the mat, you have that opportunity. Now let's turn in the opposite direction. So toes out towards Tulum, heels towards the airport. Press actively through the ball of your foot and the heel of your foot. You're creating space, you're restoring the arch in your foot. This could be uncomfortable, I know. Continue to breathe. It's safe, it's just different. When you breathe slowly through that, you are letting yourself know that it is safe. You can sit on the side. You can't be a monkey with your strap. It's not okay. One more time before we move on, I invite you to pull your toes towards your shins. So just creating that space again all the way through your feet. And again, let's think about the feet for a moment. So I've talked about them from a structural standpoint. How about from a physiological standpoint? Traditional Chinese medicine, all of the meridians of our body that run through the feet, affecting everything in our body, from our brain, our nervous system, down to our reproductive system. Moving through the liver, the bladder. How does opening and encouraging circulation through those areas impact the health of our entire body? What are the messages that we send ourselves? They're very powerful. Finally, soften your knee, release the strap, release the cord. You can set that to the side for a moment and just pull that right knee back in towards your body, interlace your fingers. Wiggle your toes around in one direction and the other. You're so welcome to stretch in any way you feel comfortable. So what do you notice? How do you notice that things feel different on one side than the other? You notice that things are starting to feel aligned. And as you pay that attention to your calf in particular, the ways that it connects up into the back of your knee will impact the way that you use everything that moves above that. Let your right foot come down. We're going to switch and move into the other side. Sometimes things are very different, right? We all have a lead leg, a place that we go where we feel strongest when we need to get things done. This is a wonderful opportunity to notice that you don't even have to change that. Right, that might be the best way for us to move, but let's just notice. So take the strap, bring it around the ball of your left foot. Hold in tightly in both of your hands, extend the foot up towards the sky. Let's give ourselves space. Let's give ourselves space in through the bones of our feet once again. So pulling toes back as you're ready. Pressing out through the ball and the heel of the foot. Can you spread your toes? Yes. There we go. Now breathe. Spread your toes. Yeah, so get some space in there. All the way from our toes up to our brains. Let's get that space in our body. That's how you bring good things in. So right now we are working through the center portion of the calf, probably the strongest area of your calf. You are in control of exactly where this moves in. So as you have a very straight leg that maybe angles out towards the ocean, you might find that you're putting more sensation into your foot and your ankle. As you bring things in a bit closer, you're going to get deeper up into the calf. and starting to work into those areas that connect deeply into the back of the joints in your body. I would like you to work with that straight leg. Again, know that I'm a tour guide. You can take a break at any time, step back, stay, return to where you've been. Sometimes it is a long time to have that foot up in the air. And sometimes we just need to breathe. Again, I'll encourage you, relax the toes towards your shin. Get active through the foot. So even though this is restorative, it doesn't mean we're not active. Oftentimes the restorative classes are the most intelligent classes, right? They are the time when we set those habits, when we get the most active and intentional about the way that we are using our bodies. This is deep, cellular level work. And again, if you've not already, you are welcome to extend the right leg, continue to breathe, and notice that your hip flexor, the front of your right thigh, notices what you're doing on the left. And we'll talk about that in a second. There. Breathe. Relax. Shoulder stop. Just drop a little bit. Now let's move through the direction of our calves. So toes towards Talib, toes towards the right, heel towards the airport, heel towards Cancun, towards the left. And if you go the opposite direction, it's okay, because we get both sides. If you've moved in that direction, you're now feeling the outside of your calf. So let's talk a little about that connection between the hip and the calf. Action of the calf, we push the ground away. Action of the hip flexor, it ties together your upper and your lower body. When you were a child, learning to walk, learning to run, you learned how to catch yourself repeatedly. There's a deep, hardwired, cross-lateral connection between these areas in your body. Your breath helps you to let that hip flexor let go a little bit. Now it's important that that hip flexor holds well, but that constant tug and tension, and I'm going to say especially in these days of endless Zoom meetings where we're leaning forward and catching ourselves all day, those hip flexors get tense and they will hold us tightly, but that can also cause deep, nagging discomfort in that area of our body and also into our low back. So this is an intelligent process of learning to let go of tension in that area. How's the breath? Let's move in the opposite direction. So if you've taken toes towards the south, they now go towards the north, heel goes towards the south. If you reverse that, that's okay. Here's where we even that out. Spread your toes out for me, push out to the ball of your feet, push out. Keep opening out that foot. And breathe. Let's think breath for a moment. You've heard me talk throughout the week, Ujjayi breath. In and out through the nose. I've heard it called ocean breath. I love that. That's very approachable, right? What does that mean? We sound like an ocean. I've also heard it described as, say, H-A, ha, out through your mouth, no vocal cords, but just to get the feel of it, and then let yourself close the mouth. Good. cord. Then you can release the cord from your foot. Interlace your fingers, bring them around the leg, pull it in tightly towards your body. Once again, you have the option to lengthen the other leg out, noticing the connection between those two sides of the body, right? Our bodies do not label calves and hip flexors. Our bodies do not label our low back. Our bodies work with integration, and that's huge in yoga. So we taught, I mean, it took me like 5-6 years of yoga practice to even figure out what it meant when we said yoga's about integrating. That's what it means. Learning how these different areas of your body are connected and move together. And all of that does really come down into also the center of your body, that area that we now call the core. Let yourself move both of your knees in towards your ribs once again. Pull the thighs in. Let yourself wiggle, rotate your toes, in and out, shoulders relax. So it's hard to believe, but we're actually half an hour in. The way that class is going to work today is I'm just going to keep moving through. So people are welcome to take a break now. You have done good, deep work. This is not easy. It's hard on the brain, it's hard on the feet, but it makes a big difference in the way that we move through our bodies. If you feel like your practice is complete today, I invite you to rest, to bask, to take a minute. I'll invite everybody to take that minute. If you're staying, we're going to stay on our backs and find our way up higher into our body, just working the same sorts of things through the hamstrings, probably about 15 or 20 minutes. Your practice, your vacation, take care of yourself, make your choice.
Can we be done now?
You can be done.